Hello. So I just put paper in front of everybody just for 1 quick minute. What I want you to do, there's no right or wrong with this. Can you build me a paper aeroplane? Now, build me the paper aeroplane with the objective to get it the furthest you can throw it. While you're doing that, I'm going to get myself a piece of paper. So you only have a minute because we're like running low on time, so. Are we almost done? I'll give you 10 more seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Just hold up your paper aeroplane, or what you perceive as a paper aeroplane. Now, just what I want you to do is throw it. All right. Hey. So, when it comes to dealing with mental health and health issues and everything, like a lot of us are all here in the same room for alternative therapies, breaking out of the box. Now, what the objective was is to get it as far as you could throw it, right? So when you perceive something, right, when we talk about mental health, we talk about all these kind of issues. I said paper aeroplane, right? So everyone thinks of a paper aeroplane. And again, it's just whatever, right? Like it may get there, it'll take longer. But what I'm trying to do was the objective was to get as far as possible, right? This could be a paper aeroplane. It goes way further, right? It's thinking outside the box. Now, we've been dealing with mental health for a very, very long time. And I'll just bring up some of the data. Okay, the third point, what I want to bring up is, despite all the applications around psychology and pharmacological, it's not getting any better, right? It is not getting any better. We've actually seen higher rates of suicide, given that we've seen a dip this year with veterans, but it is going up and up and up. Even though we're pumping more and more money into it, nothing is working because we are seeing the paper aeroplane. That is what we're doing. If you can think outside the box, which a lot of people are doing here right now, and a lot of the speakers are talking about it in psychedelic therapy, hyperbaric chambers, resilience, everything like that, maybe we can actually drive it further and bring the total mental health issues down. I am one of those people, and many of us experience the treatment, partial or transient improvement. I've been through that journey. At the end of it, I'm like, whatever. Like, did I get any better? I don't know. So, who are we? Trojan's Trek. I can't take the credit for Trojan's Trek. I only came in 3 years ago. So it was firstly established by Moose Dunlop and Dogs Carney out of South Australia. Now, these guys were ahead of their time for 2 Vietnam veterans. They saw the power of the bush and actually coming together and having a conversation and talking about what's going on in life. So I've had many questions, and I still get many questions around Trojan's Trek. Firstly, let me put all things, there is no walking, right? The trek is your life, your journey from here to the trek and beyond, right? Trojans represents like the Trojan's horse. We're going to put something in front of you. You may go, yeah, as a veteran, this is never going to work. I guarantee you in 6 days' time, that horse is inside your brain and it is doing laps. Right, it is in there. We'll plant the seed, it'll eventually grow. Again, we are rooted in evidence. We've had lots of independent reviews on us. We've had PhD students come through on us. And what we try to look at is like a life, career and education design. Predominantly what we do at the beginning is life, and then we work with career and education at a later date. That's my passion. As you would have heard in my bio, I'm very big on career and education. So we offer a life-altering experience. There are 2 people in the room that have done the trek, right? We've got multiple more, and you'll see some stories on that. So a bit of our philosophy. So we do exploration, reflection, First Nation engagement, and come with an open mind. Now, exploration and reflection, we do not get much of that in today's society. It's hustle, bustle, go, 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 go. What's next, what's next, what's next? In 6 days, we take you away from society, we take you away from your phone, we take you away from all your worries, and you sit down around a campfire and you have a conversation. So you explore your inner darkest, deep and mean fears, and then you reflect on them in a group. First Nations, this is not an Indigenous immersion. We know we're white guys going to the land. They understand the spiritual side of it. So where we can, we will engage with the local communities to come in and talk about the spiritual part of the land. Open mind. Come with an open mind, please. You can come with a closed mind, that's all right, but we're going to jackhammer it open by the 6th day. Okay, so how do we affect change? So we're non-clinical, right? We're all peers, but we have clinical oversight. I'm not stupid. We have clinical psychologists on the board who overlooks everything and looks at it so we don't go deep into the clinical aspect of it all, and also provides that security if something is to go wrong and we need to touch base back in. Okay, people have talked about it here. We're rooted in phenomenological theory, which is lived experience and also social prescription. Future focused. We don't live in the past, we live in the present and aim for the future. The past has already happened, nothing you can do about it, it's all an illusion, so let's get you back into the present and move you into the future. Evidence is key. Everyone's talked about it here. You need evidence. DVA needs evidence. Everybody needs evidence to show that it's actually working. I can stand up here and just make pretty graphs and say, hey, we're amazing. And you go, ooh, but no, we actually go and get proper evidence and reviewed. Again, we mentor change. We encourage it. We're there long beyond the trek. We create those little communities. We encourage people to join other communities. We are there. We're mentoring that change along the way. This is just a recent photo. We just got back from Kokoda. That's the only trekking we do. So I kind of lied to you. We did go for a trek. It was hard. That's why I'll end on that one. But we will. I'll go into life design. So what we do. So again, we look beyond life, beyond service and injury. So if you're looking at leaving or looking at staying, we try to go beyond it and beyond the injury. Okay, you're injured. You've got a mental health issue. Yeah, good on you. So do I. But what can you do beyond that? We try not to let people buy into their injuries anymore. We try to change that narrative. Again, flipping the narrative. Values. So this is our first day. I was explaining to someone last night about our first day. We get straight into it. There is no pussyfooting around in any way. We don't just talk about values and say, what is a value? We actually sit down and we break down values. And we start off with about 70 and we get down to a little magical number. And then we say, explore it. What does that value mean to you and why? So they actually physically start writing about it. And then what we do at the end of that is we'll actually get them together and they'll actually explore the values with one another. What we're trying to do now is go into the moral sphere and the spiritual sphere of all of it. So what you can do is you can start to understand that what integrity means to me may mean something completely different to someone else, right? We had one guy who got so upset that he didn't write family because 7 other people wrote family. But when he described loyalty, it was like that person describing family. So when you start to understand that these words mean so much more different to you, you can start to look at the moral sphere and then understand when someone goes, oh, attacks your integrity, maybe they don't understand and you don't understand it. It opens that question to then go, what do you mean by integrity? So then you can start to step away from that moral injury that possibly occurs within leadership and all that. So that's values. That's day one. And then what we do is we'll go and kick you out into a nice little area in the field and say, where have you compromised your values? Who has influenced your values? And a couple more other questions. And you sit and you write about it and then you come back as a small group and you'll have a conversation about it. So we start to break it down. You are facing your demons. By day 2, people want to go home. It's hard. They want to go home. What we try to do is we try to encourage them to stay another day. Once they stay that extra day, normally it starts to get better. But if they still want to go home, look, we're not evil people. We drive them to the airport and say, see ya, kick them on the plane, send them home. No, we don't do it that way. We just gently do it. So we talk about purpose as well. So I'll bring both of these up at one time. So purpose and identity. Now, the military dupes you into believing that purpose and identity are the same thing, right? You believe that the military is my purpose. Well, that's a lot of shit. Purpose is intrinsic, right? It comes from what drives you, right? In your internal fire, why you exist, why you get up, right? That is what purpose is all about. So we try to disconnect what purpose is and what identity is. So identity is I was a CEO. I am an infantry soldier. I am a 2 commando person. I am a clerk. I am. That is the ego talking. So we teach you that the ego is at your forefront. Your ego is what's driving you. So when you have an identity collapse, it's nothing but your ego dying, right? If you've done psychedelic therapy, you're going to have an ego death, massive. I've had one. It's pretty full on. But we try to teach them that there's a separation, that you can actually understand that what motivates me is why did I join the military? To serve, to help, to give back, to do this. So once you understand that about you, you can have multiple identities that fit within that realm. You can be a social worker, psychologist, you can do, be a peer worker, you can do so many different things. And when one identity collapses, you can create another identity because you already know who you are intrinsically. So that's what we do. We talk about emotional literacy. Again, that's feelings. A lot of people don't know how to feel anymore because you're taught how to suppress your emotions. I've had 2 commando mates in tears on day 2, right? Because they're feeling emotions. It's okay, feel what you feel. That's the right thing. If you're upset, you're upset. If you hate someone, acknowledge that you hate that person rather than unacknowledged hatred, which leads to violence. If you love someone, tell them. So we teach them about emotional literacy. Influence and relationships is a big one. Lots of veterans destroy their relationships. We just blow it up. I'm a culprit of it. Just blow it up. See you later. Don't want to deal with it anymore. Gone. So we teach them about that stuff. Lifting the horizons. This is a new point that I just recently added because my deputy chair was talking to me about it the other night. It comes around future focus. So what we try to do is they start to see beyond what's tomorrow, the next day. They start to look and go, what's in 3 months' time? What am I looking forward to in 3 months' time? What do I have to look forward to? So that's That's what we do. We start to lift the horizons beyond the narrow. And the legacy. So legacy is, it's an interesting word. What is your legacy? The final day, what we do is we've primed them all the way to one certain point, is this final day on legacy. Is we send them away, we say, what do you want to be doing in 12 months' time? Where do you see yourself in 12 months? And that could be anything. That can be reconnecting with my family, sitting down and telling my kids why I yell at them because of my PTSD. It can be anything. And then they come back and they Shark Tank one another. Now, the first two, I say, are the bravest, right? Because out of 16 people, if you have ever been a commander and you've had to give orders in the military, the first two normally suck, right? Like they're like all over the place trying to get it out. Number 16, they have the best plan in the world because they have stolen everyone else's concepts and they are giving it out. And what they do is they then start holding each other accountable for these actions, right? I said I was going to do this, and over the chats they start talking to one another. Have you done this? Have you done that? Where are you at with this? So they start to get buy-in. Now, lots of people have been talking about, we get doing stuff and we do this, but you have to get buy-in. The reason why lots of these medicines and that don't work, because you don't have their buy-in. By the 6th day, everyone is bought in. Again, what I said, we've planted the seed. Everyone is now buying into this. It's almost like a little bit of a cult, doesn't it? That's what my wife says. It sounds cultish, but I'm not a cult leader. Yet. But that's what we do, is we get them to buy in. Once you have buy-in, you can achieve anything. Self-buy-in, because now you don't want to fail. Because now your ego's at the forefront going, hey man, I can't let this go wrong. Like, I've told people what I'm going to do. I have to do it. So then you start driving forward. So that just sums up what we do on the trek. So old measurement tools. Why I say old measurement tools is because we use a lot of PHQ-9s, DASs, PCL5s, and I think they're vomit, right? Like, I really do. I think they're vomit. Because what they do is they keep you in the sickness model. You talk about PTSD, depression. Ugh. Like, it doesn't help you. It keeps you in that narrative mind of sickness. Right? Reason why we changed it, we had people going to us going, why do I want to talk about depression? Why do I want to talk about PTSD? You just told me that adversity is life. I am already resilient. I learned to walk. I learned to ride a bike. We're teaching them how to remember that you are already resilient. You're amazing human beings. You've been through everything already. You've stumbled, you've fallen, you've picked yourself up. Why do I want to be talking about PTSD and depression again on a score? Because it's just going to draw you back into that narrative. So we started looking at new measurements. So with a focus on well-being and a bit of a social impact. Now, I don't normally listen to people when they tell me things, but a friend of mine, a good researcher, said you've got to keep something that psychiatrists and psychologists can hang on to so you don't freak them all out. So I kept the K10 in. I'm thinking of dropping it down to the K5 because it's less questions. We look at the flourishing scale, personal wellbeing index, self-esteem scale, self-compassion scale, and satisfaction with life. So it starts to flip the narrative. As you can already see, you're now not talking about depression or PTSD or anything negative. You're actually asking the question, how well do you feel? How good do you feel about yourself? How well is life going? We're starting to make it more positive rather than deficit. So this next slide was done up by our clinical lead. Again, we've only just started this year. He explained it to me again last night. I was like, yeah, great. I'm just going to put it all in one slide and let them read it and let the researchers and that, you go, oh, wow, that's amazing. what it does show is that there is I'll read it straight off the slide. All measures showed statistically significant pre and post change. So improvements exceeded commonly used MCID thresholds for PWI, K10 and the SWLS. And then we saw some minor changes in the others. So what we're actually seeing improvement. My summary of that, it shows that it's working. Our hope is to continue this and actually start to build more research around it, so then we can start to change the narrative and then present it to DVA's wellbeing agency and say, hey, this is how you should be looking at wellbeing, rather than the other way. Okay, some independent reviews that are done on us. We're looking at getting another one done for the end of this year, leading into next year. We still haven't picked those people. So again, positive impact. This is a young guy from Queensland. We caught him in our South Australian trek, so when I say he's from Queensland, caught him, he was going to be a typical statistic. Young infantry soldier, getting out of the military, literally about to set his world on fire. I got a phone call from a friend, go and talk to him. So I did, and I invited him to the trek. He's now married, studying, and he actually works for us at Go2. So massive change from what he was heading down. TPI, could never work again. This is his words. I'm TPI. I'm never working again. I'm broken. I'm destroyed. I'm done with life. That was this kid. He actually did Kokoda with us. I convinced him to do Kokoda by telling him that Kurt Fernley with no legs did it, so you can do it. And he came and did it, and he enjoyed it. So now that's just one positive impact. We've had current serving come on our trek, because it's open to everyone, emergency services and current and veterans. We've had every single current serving go back on, pull their discharge, and stay within defence. Because they've actually had that ability to disconnect, reconnect with why they joined, and go back and say, you know what, I can stay within the military now, because I know why I joined. It's that disillusionment we're breaking, that disillusionment. This is the most recent one. This is one of our first responders. It's a lot to read, so I'm not going to read it out. I had to actually shrink it down because he wrote a lot. I didn't put his name on there, but if you Google this scenarios, if I Google the scenario, you'll probably be able to find him quite quickly. But he was involved in a lot of critical incidents, to the point where this guy actually got awarded his bravery medal. Was never ever going to do it, and just recently went back down to Victoria, and the actual commission asked him, how did you get here? Because we never thought we would be able to award this, and this is what he said. He's put his hand up to do our charity event for next year, which is run the marathon to celebrate the 25th anniversary for 9/11 in New York next year. So this is a huge change. Like, if you know this guy, if you met him, massive change. Again, we can't do this alone, right? Again, we're a charity. We work on smell of an oily rag. We need partnerships. We have lots of partnerships. Again, we need community, right? And this is just celebrating some of our community. Know Popatria. I know Jason. Him and I were kids together and in the army together. If you have any questions about what we're doing from a narrative wilderness approach, there's my details. Happy to share what we do. Happy to partner with anyone. Or actually, I would rephrase that. Not happy to partner with everyone, but happy to have the conversation. That's me done. Thank you.